G'day YouTubers, Michael from BeYourBestSelf.Fitness here. Today I am doing an advanced technique video for the kettlebell. So we're going to be going over a whole bunch of more advanced or more difficult exercises using kettlebells, single and double. So obviously this may not be possible for everyone. If you only have one kettlebell at home, then obviously look at the single kettlebell exercises that I'm doing. But if you're able to, grab two, because it becomes way more versatile in the exercises that we can do with two kettlebells. Now, fair warning, it is summer here. It's tropical, it's humid, so I'm going to be sweating profusely. So I apologize for that, but I'll do my best to keep my composure. I'm also suffering the man flu, and every man out there knows how difficult that can be. So I have a throbbing headache, blocked sinuses and a sore throat, but I'm going to do the best that I can and give you the best content that I possibly can. So here we go with some advanced kettlebell exercises. I'm going to start with the snatch. I'm going to do a single snatch first. If you can get a hold of these guys that have this curved edge, they're excellent because they cup the forearm really nicely as opposed to the round kettlebells that tend to dig in a little bit. So this is a really good way to go with this one. So we're going to take a wider stance, a squat stance, maybe even a little wider than a squat stance for this one. Now, whenever we're bending down to get ready for these movements, let's keep the technique in mind at all times. So rather than just bending down and getting ready like this, let's really think about queuing up the good positions before we even start the movement. So I want to think about having a nice tight core. So a nice brace core as if I'm planking. All of those muscles are engaged. I'm squeezing my glutes, which is pulling my pelvis into a good neutral position so my back is nice and straight. Then when I'm coming back, I want to sit my hips back, bend my knees, and get ready in that fashion. So almost like I'm deadlifting, nice athletic position, because we're going to be exploding up in the snatch. So again, nice tight core. Now I'm grabbing the ground with my feet. I'm making sure that I've got good contact across my whole foot. Now this is going to go through for every exercise that I do today, so I'll say it now and get that out of the way. I'm going to have good contact. My big toe, my little toe, and my heel are all in good contact with the ground. I'm grabbing the ground and I'm actually going to twist the ground apart. Now what that does is it helps engage all of those muscles from my legs right up to my hips. They're all engaged. It's squeezing my glutes together. My quads are engaged. My hamstrings are ready. And it's also going to help to keep my knees out in a good position when I'm doing these movements, rather than my knee and my ankle rolling into a really weak position. And that's where injuries occur with that valgus knee position rolling in. So I'm grabbing the ground, I'm twisting, so all of this is engaged, core's engaged, ready to go. Now I'm going to come down and grab this kettlebell with one arm, like I mentioned, in that athletic position. And from here, we're going to drive up with the hips. So I'm going to push into the ground, this arm staying straight, back staying engaged. So also want to engage my upper back as well. So pulling my shoulder blades together, my shoulders back and down, lats are engaged. So all of that is a nice, tight, closed system right through my back all the way into the ground. Now I'm going to drive up with my hips, drive my feet into the ground. And then as I come through, I'm going to drive, finish in that good position here, and then bring that kettlebell over the top. So I'll show you what I mean. Nice and explosive from the ground, driving up. So if I'm too slow with my hips, then I'm going to end up just pulling this kettlebell with my arm, and that's not the exercise. We really want to drive with the hips. That's our most powerful weapon in this exercise. So I'm going to drive and use that momentum of driving with these big muscles off the ground, and that kettlebell is just going to come up, and I'm just guiding it with this arm and then punching through at the top. Here we go again. Nice and explosive with the hips. Using this arm as a stabilizer. So you can really see me snap my hips. And if we're nice and aggressive with the punch through, that kettlebell's not going to slap us in the wrist. If we're a little slow, that's going to really hit hard. So we want to drive, okay? Really drive through. So all of the power comes from the hips with that one. So this is a great exercise, a full body exercise. We can combine one arm and the other arm. You can always see that my knees are out, twisting the ground apart, glutes are always engaged, core's always engaged. And when we're breathing, to reinforce that core stability, I want to try and breathe into my stomach. So if my core is flexed, want to try and breathe into here. Fill that up with air, and that's going to create more abdominal pressure and really help to stabilize my core like I'm wearing a belt, okay? So glutes are engaged, core's engaged, filling up my core with air. Try and fill up all of these areas here. Feel like you're breathing into your lower back, into your lower stomach, and really creating a good abdominal pressure to keep that nice and stable throughout the whole movement. So let's go into the double snatch now. I'm going to flatten one side of these guys. So let's go for the double snatch. Same thing, okay, except we're going to drive through both arms. So still really driving off the ground with our hips. We want our hips to get that weight moving so that it's not all shoulders and arms. So I'm getting down nice and low so I can drive with my legs. Back straight, pulling my shoulders back and down. Breath into my stomach. Punching up. Okay, can also do this one outside as well. So you can see I reset with my breathing every rep. Make sure I'm as tight as I can be for every single rep. Driving through. Great, great full body exercise. Really going to get the heart rate going, which is exactly what we're after. So from there, we can take it into the overhead squat. So again, we can do this single or we can do this double. So I'll start with single. Now I'm going to take this right overhead with a straight arm. So we can use that snatch, okay, to get this into position, or we can break it up a little bit and use a clean and press. So I can come to here and then press up. Now the squat is exactly the same, grabbing the ground, twisting apart, core's engaged, pulling my shoulders back and down, nice strong core, okay, breathing into my stomach, and then I'm going to go into the squat. So this obviously adds a lot of instability, which means our core's doing a lot of work, shoulders doing a lot of work to stabilize this as we squat. Making sure we're looking ahead. Don't want to be looking down because we're going to follow that. Okay, nice tight upper back to stabilize that kettlebell. Okay, it's an overhead squat. If you haven't yet, check out my bodyweight squat technique video on YouTube, just so that you get the technique for the squat down, because you don't want to be throwing weight over your head if you're not efficient at the squat. So keeping in mind this is advanced exercises with using the kettlebells, okay? Don't want anyone getting injured because they're trying to bite off more than they can chew just when they're getting started. So you're going to go the double overhead, adding more weight in an unstable position, so we're doing a lot of work to stabilize that. Really, really great full body exercise. So I'm just going to clean these up, get in my position, press, lock it in. So really pulling my shoulders back and down, core's in tight, big breath into the abdomen. Side on. I'm going into the front squat using 2 kettlebells, so we're going to get them into the front rack position. So we're getting nice and stable here. Again, good contact with the ground, twisting the ground apart, knees out, straight back, tight core, all of those good things. So we're going to get these up into the front rack position, okay, and then we're squatting from there. So this is going to cause our torso to be a little bit more upright, very much like a front squat, putting the emphasis on our quads. Big breath into the stomach. So we're just keeping these here nice and stable. Still pulling my shoulders back and down, still locking that in. Keeping my chest up throughout that whole movement. So don't let these pull you forward. So you can see I drive my elbows forward. Okay, if I let my elbows come down, it's going to pull me forward. So as I'm coming down, Really driving that forward, tightens my upper back. Okay, squatting from there. Okay, we're going to go into the clean now. So this is exactly what we've been doing so far. Single clean. Okay, same position as the snatch. We're still exploding off the ground, driving with the hips into this position here. So into that position we were just doing those squats from. So this can become a great part of a combination of movements. Okay, we can do a few cleans, do a few presses, go into a few squats there as well. So these are all great exercises to tie in together because they all flow from the same starting position. They all flow into one another. So really great way to put together a series of exercises to really push our cardio, not only our strength. Yes, we're working on explosive power off the ground, working on good shoulder stability, core stability, but because we're not using tons of weight like Olympic lifters, so we're doing Olympic movements, snatch, clean, press, okay? But lighter weights so we can handle much more reps. We can really push our cardio as well as working through those strength positions. So really great tools to have. Go into the double clean. Exactly the same thing, except with both arms. You have to really drive hard now. Okay, so my arms are just catching. They're just guiding and catching. Alrighty, double clean. So I've also got the deadlift now. I went in the easy video, single kettlebell deadlift, so we can just up that a little bit, help us increase the weight, okay? By using two, a couple of ways we can do this. Side on's probably going to be a better demonstration. So we can go stiff leg, we've only got a slight bend in the knee, back's coming over parallel, okay, puts more focus on the lower back and hamstrings. Always keeping that back straight though. Same thing, we're still twisting the ground apart, still keeping our core tight and breathing into our core, still pulling shoulders back and down, using the lats here to really lock that in. Okay, or we can do a regular deadlift where we get a bit more bend in the knee. Okay, bring in a little bit more legs and quads with that one. So down here and standing up. And you can also take that into the sumo deadlift where we're going wider, toes out a little bit more. Okay, and we're sitting down here. So still driving those knees out, still tight through the core, tight through the shoulders, and standing up there. So you get a lot more in here with this one. Driving through the heels, you'll feel it in the glutes, okay? So there are deadlift options with the kettlebells as well. Now we can take this into the bent over row using two kettlebells. The bent over row at about a 45 degrees here, okay, locking it all in. Show from the side as well. So feet are straight under my hips, similar to a deadlift stance. About a 45 here. This is locked in, core's tight, and then pulling those elbows back. Really squeezing those shoulder blades together. Keeping my elbows in tight to my body. That's our bent over row using the two kettlebells. We can obviously do single as well. Okay, rowing in here. Now let's take that into the overhead press. So we've got a single overhead press. Let's go the heavy one for a bit of fun. Pull out my 20 kilo. So I'm gonna go into the overhead press, single overhead press to start with. So we're going to get that up in the same way that we've done all those other exercises. I'm going to clean it up to here. Oh yeah, that's heavy. Okay, I'm going to get ready. Nice tight core. I'm out for balance and I'm going to breathe into my stomach. Drive up. So like I mentioned, these ones with a curve are great to sit against a forearm. Now you see I like to come in full range of motion. I don't like to short change exercises, do short reps. I like to go through full range of motion If that means I need to use a lighter weight, then so be it. I'm not here to lift for ego. I'm here to lift for health. Okay, I'm here to get stronger and get my joints stronger in their full range of motion. I don't want my joint to be strong here and then as soon as I'm down here, I can't do anything. So full range of motion, okay? Because of the way the kettlebell sits, palms are facing in when I start and then I turn them when I finish. So I feel like I'm capturing more of the medial head of the delt, the shoulder, as I'm driving and turning as well there. You can also take that into a double press. Okay. Nice strong stance. Twisting the ground apart still even with this. Tight core, breathing into the abdomen. And then driving up. Exactly the same technique. Okay, that's our single and double overhead press using the kettlebells. Next we've got the kettlebell swing, so the double swing. We're using 2 for this one. I went through the single swing in the beginner exercises. So we're going double swing. So the things that we're thinking about for this is our stance might need to be a little bit wider than normal than our regular swing. All the same things apply. Screwing the ground apart, glutes are engaged, core's engaged, straight back. So I'm sitting my hips back as I'm swinging, really loading up the glutes. Okay, and then driving through with the hip. So this is exactly the same as when we're cleaning and snatching the weight off the ground. This is a good precursor to doing those movements, dialing in that technique, feeling that drive of the hips, really squeezing the glutes as we come forward to throw that weight up. So this is the same, okay, but we're really amping it up with the double kettlebell swing now. So here we go. I'm thinking about all of those things as I'm getting ready. Everything's engaged and tight. Okay, then I get into position, get a little swing and drive. I breathe in on the way down, so I'm tight, and out at the top. So really driving those hips forward. As I'm catching the kettlebell, really feeling my glutes load up, and then driving from there. So you don't want to just swing and let it take you. I want to feel like I'm building and building that tension in my glutes as I'm coming back and then driving that back out. So almost like we're pulling a bow, we're building tension and then boom, firing as we go up from there. So it's a double kettlebell swing. That'll get your heart rate going. Really good one, like I mentioned, to get that technique of driving with the hips off the ground for those other movements like the snatch and the clean and press. All right, we're going into the tricep extension. So we can do a single tricep extension. So this is starting overhead. Okay, you know how to get it up here. We're going to take that down and drive back up. So my elbow is staying as close to my head as possible. All right, I'm not trying to move my arm back and forward. Okay, I'm not letting my elbow flare in and out. Core's got to stay tight. A lot of times in this overhead position, we tend to do that. So we really want to focus on this tight, pelvis underneath, shoulders back and down. Just dropping at the elbow and then pressing straight back up. So the shoulders doing a lot of stability work here, which is great. Arm out for balance, core tight. So again, even these little single muscle movements with the kettlebell still really engage the entire body in the movement, which is why I love them. They're really, really great full body tools. Okay, that instability of the kettlebell really makes the shoulder work. All those little stabilizers that help to create a strong and stable shoulder are really working hard to do that. We can take that into a double. Again, make it harder. Same thing, nice stable stance. Glutes are engaged, twisting the ground apart. Core's engaged, upper back's tight. Sink those as low as you can without the arm coming back. Okay, there's no point in sinking them deep if you're just pulling your arms back. Nice and controlled. double tricep extension. We're going to go straight into the double curl and press. Stance is going to come a little closer. Like I mentioned, it's summer, so excuse my sweating. Here we go. Curl, press. So we're doing biceps and shoulders in one. Very simple. But again, I don't want the elbows doing anything for the curl. Okay, they're staying fairly still and then coming here. So I don't want to just lift up, okay, because that's all shoulder. So I want to engage the bicep by curling to about there and then driving up. You can do that with a single as well. This is going to require a little more core stabilization because it's pulling you to one side. So arm out for balance. But this requires a little less energy overall. So if two's too hard, go to one. A little less energy because you're not moving twice the amount of weight. That's a good one to bring in the bicep and shoulder as well with the curl and press. Okay, we've only got a couple more to go, guys. So going into the lunge. A couple of ways we can do the lunge. Quite a few ways we can do the lunge. We can take one, bring it up overhead. It's a very unstable position, so we're doing a lot of work in the shoulder, in the core, okay, to stabilize. So we can do walking lunges or stationary lunges like I'm going to show now. Okay, we can alternate sides. Okay, to really challenge our midline, our core, to stay stable. Okay, then you can swap arms and repeat. We can do the same thing with two. Really ramp up the intensity of this exercise. Okay, really locking in the shoulders and the upper back and the core. Keeping the arms straight. Don't want bend in the arms because then there's too much muscle doing the work. I want my bones to be supporting that as much as possible. Big breath into my core each time. Now we can bring these doubles down into the front rack position. Do the same thing, so a little easier on the shoulders and the arms, but still using that same weight. Some awesome options with the lunges there. And the last one we're going into is the upright row. So in the easy one, I showed you the upright row with a single kettlebell. Now we can go into a double. Upright row is a good shoulder exercise. Really good for the medial, the middle part of the shoulder. Coming into this position, keeping the kettlebells close, pulling up with our elbows and keeping our elbows higher than our wrists. That's going to ensure that it's the shoulders doing the work. If the wrists get higher, it's biceps. Okay, just going to flatten those out a bit. Nice and close to the body, elbows high. Good shoulder finisher. Still locking in the upper back and the core, twisting the ground apart. That's our upright row using two kettlebells, guys. I am done. Put a fork in me. It's summer. It's the wet season. And I got the man flu. So that is all from me today, guys. Please ask questions. Check out my other videos. I've got plenty of other stuff coming as well. So subscribe to stay tuned for that. Like the video if you like the video. Commenting any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. I want to help as many people as I can become the very best version of their self. And fitness is a great step into doing that. It's not everything, but it is something. When we feel good and we look good, it really helps our mental state as well. So being active and being healthy is a really great way to take a step to being the very best version of ourselves. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it. Again, my website is beyourbestself.fitness. On there, I've got tons of tutorial videos, program templates for the gym, and much, much more. Thanks very much, guys. I appreciate it. See you in the next video. I'm dying.